y'all doing? Look, and this is such a powerful and an amazing moment for everybody in this room, but specifically the youth. And I feel like if I had more opportunities to be able to hear from so many great people with great stories, there's so many things that probably would have been a lot easier to support and to help the community. But I really want to start with, because I've been really taking notes from all the speakers prior, discipline today is what will show up for you tomorrow. And then with Tom, you spoke about play to win, do not play not to lose. It was so funny because I hadn't heard that since my freshman year in college. That was something that Coach Trina at LSU would speak about all the time. If we lost a game or we looked like we were just not having fun, or we didn't look like we were coming out competitive or aggressive, she always say, you guys are playing not to lose, you're not playing to win. And it really wasn't until my senior year that I really understood that, to the point of where, because you get to the point your senior year, you realize, my time is almost up. I don't have time to play not to lose. Every single game has to be played to win, because I want to not only get to the World Series, but I want to win the World Series, and this is my last year to do it. But to play not to lose, it means you go out every single day assuming that you are going to win. No matter what you do, no matter what circumstances are put up against you, you decide that day, you woke up that day and said, this is the day I'm going to win. I don't care what happened last AB, I don't care what happened last game. You don't know who I am. I'm a brand new person. I'm a brand new player today. That AJ that you knew last AB, she's gone. The second AB, you got me out once, but you're not getting me out twice. You got me out twice, okay, but no one's ever gotten me out 3 times. That's the mentality of going in and playing to win. And then Chris talking about that 90% that you can control. There's so much that we can't control in softball, in baseball, in life. But going up, what we can control is our effort. And our effort, the powerful thing about effort is no one knows your effort but you. Only you can determine how much effort you're putting into what you do every day, every practice, every game. But what you do not realize is that effort that you put in, whatever you choose to bring, somebody is watching. No matter what you think you're doing, no matter where you are, there is somebody that has noticed you. There's somebody that took notes on you. And there's somebody based off the person that you showed up today, the athlete that you showed up today, they want to help you. You never know who's watching. And I think that's going to be the main message for what I try to bring to you today. When it came to high school, I'm going to try to speak over the choir, like next to us, see if we can join in. But at high school, I'm actually from Tampa Bay area, from Clearwater. So I went to Countryside High School. And my high school was very competitive softball-wise. They went to state every year prior to me getting there my freshman year. And I was told my freshman year that I was not going to start because no freshman ever starts on our softball team. My response to that was, bet. And I worked hard every single day, no matter what failure came, no matter strikeout came. To me, failure was only the opportunity to more intelligently begin again. And every time we look at failure, I feel like as athletes, as people, sometimes it's something that we want to avoid every single day, not realizing that failure is not the opposite of success. It is a part of it. You cannot get to the success. You have to think of it like a ladder. Every failure that I reach, I'm only getting higher and higher and higher to that ultimate success that we want to get to. The expert has failed more times than the beginner has begun. If you want to become an expert, if you want to be the best at what you do, you have to face failure. You have to befriend failure. You actually have to use where you almost kind of like it, right? I'm known for making diving catches, but the only reason why I'm so good at making diving catches in the outfield is because I've dropped some. And I've learned from that drop to know that I'm never going to drop that one again. But if I had first dropped it, I don't know that I would have known to take that angle, to maybe start here, go there, in order to never ever miss that ball again. When we talk about resilience and keeping moving forward and that effort and never knowing who's watching, me getting recruited to play at LSU, I was playing at some tournament maybe down in Miami, and I was in the outfield, I'm playing right field at the time. I must have made 100 diving catches in my career at that point in my life. But that day, an LSU coach was walking by. I remember asking why it was they started to recruit me. And she said, we saw you make a diving catch as you were randomly walking by the field one day. If you imagine, if I didn't make that one catch in that one moment, if I decided to lay back on that one play, it was down the line, but it was on the right field line, maybe the smart thing to do would not be to dive, right? You taught not to dive on the line. But that wasn't what my effort told me to do. I'm not somebody that ever gives half-ass. I'm not somebody that only goes sometimes. Always 100%, so I dove for that ball. And me diving for that ball, that one moment, is what led to me being recruited by LSU. It seems simple, but when I really think about it, if I did not dive, because there's times where I haven't dove, where I thought for something I could have got that. dang, I probably could have got that. Dang, I probably could have dove for that ball. And that was one of those moments. My entire life could be completely different. Entire life. And that was that effort. As I get to LSU, my lighting.
Oh.
You guys. Focus. It's okay. That's what I take control. The temperature, bring back my 90. Here we go. But we talk about that effort. I get to LSU. I did not start as a freshman. And that is something that is very hard when you are the best your entire life. From middle school to high school, you're the number one recruit. You're the top this, top that. You get to the school and you're thinking you're going to be the same way. Only realizing every single person there was the number one in their class. Every single person there was a top player. So you're competing against the best of the best. Not just the people the teams you're competing against, but every single teammate that you have. And as I was there competing and I didn't start, that was to me something that at that moment I felt like could have potentially been seen as a failure. Then I remember something my dad told me. He told me after I told him I wanted to go to get recruited to go play collegiate softball. He said there's always going to be somebody better than you, but there better be no one that works harder. And my thought process, I'm saying there's somebody better than me, I said, that's not true. That's never going to happen. Boy, was I surprised. There were definitely a lot of people that were good, but what happened was nobody was going to work harder than me. It got to the point where I got so determined that I would go to the field, thank you. I would go to the field early before practice to hit, and I would stay late after practice to hit. I stayed so late after one practice that Coach Trina, which was my coach at LSU, she came by. She had a young baby at the time, so she was trying to drive her around to get her to sleep. And she sees me at the field, the lights on. And she comes in and asks me what I'm doing. I'm like, I didn't do too well at practice today on the outside pitch, so I'm taking some more reps. I'm convinced, because that following weekend, who was starting? Me. And I'm convinced that it was because of that effort that I put in. The fact that I didn't know who was watching in that moment. I had no idea she was going to pull up at 8 p.m., 9 p.m. after practice and see me there. But my effort was going to show up for me every single time. One thing I think is so interesting in softball and in baseball is we judge ourselves so much off of what we did in that game, right? Okay, how'd the game go today? I was 0 for 3, or I was 2 for 3, 2 for 2, whatever it is. And we look so much into the future, look so much at what we haven't done or what we could do better versus every single day stepping up. I got to the plate. I don't want to add that pressure to me. So it was like, AJ, we're going to go 1 for 1. Let's go 1 for 1. No matter what it is, we're going to go 1 for 1. And that's something you can apply to your everyday life. You step outside, okay, I have this opportunity. I'm not going to think about what happens here. I'm not going to think about what happens there. I'm going to go 1 for 1. 1 for right now is me walking through that door. Okay, all right, we're 1 for 1. Next AB, I'm going to sit down and have this conversation. All right, got that done. 1 for 1. Right? Every single thing that we hit is a 1 for 1 moment. We're not looking at 2 for 3. There's no failure here. We're attacking every moment for what it is. After I continued from LSU, and I'm going to thinking about playing pro, not sure what the opportunities for professional softball are not as grand as they are for Major League Baseball. And so I'm sitting here thinking about those opportunities and what that will look like for me. But I became so inspired and so dedicated to it because my senior year I did a thesis project where I went to a field and I asked 5 young baseball players what they wanted to be when they grew up, and I asked 5 young softball players what they wanted to be when they grew up. All the boys, all the baseball players said, I want to be a baseball player, Major League Baseball player. I want to be a Major League coach. The young girls, all of them but one said they wanted to be something completely different. And the one girl that said something somewhat relating to softball, she said, well, I want to play professional softball, but I don't know if that's possible. And to me, that it really triggered me because I wanted to be one of those people that allowed her to believe in what was going to be possible. You get to believe in what is possible, not someone else. No one else dictates your story but you. And every time those moments come where something seems like it's impossible, I hope everyone goes out and says, bet. The 5 P's are really what drove me from high school to college to pros. The 5 P's I call the proper preparation prevents poor performance. There's so many moments in which I feel like you could add that pressure. The only reason you don't feel that pressure, you talk about pressure is a privilege, it's because I'm prepared for every single moment that comes to me. I'm going 1 for 1 and my effort is always going to be unmatched. When I got drafted in 2015, who I told you how long ago that was. Anyway, when I got drafted in 2015, and went on to play for the Chicago Bandits at first, and then go on and play for the Akron Racers. In 2016, it was announced that they were going to be giving the Gold Glove for women softball for the first time ever. And my initial response to that was, oh wow, okay, I'm thinking it's going to be some women's version of the Gold Glove. I didn't know that it was going to be the Gold Glove that Major League Baseball players receive. And it goes back to saying, okay, well, I'm just going to keep playing. Didn't even know who was going to be nominated, who they were looking at. And that year, I had broke my hand. So I'm playing that entire season with a broken hand. And only the reason because softball season is only 3 months long. So if I were to take that time off, the season would be gone. So I'm playing excruciating pain. And anyone that has played injured knows the mental toll that can take on you. But I told myself, anytime that I made a bad play or something didn't happen, that was just a bad game. That was a bad play. I'm not a bad player. You're not so bad of a player that you have to feel good to always play good, AJ. You go out and be you. Reminded myself of that in those moments in which obviously self-doubt, you have to talk to yourself more than you listen to yourself. As athletes, as people, because oftentimes our own worst enemy is between our own ears. And I'm talking to myself, encouraging myself. I go out and make this diving play in right field, on the line. I didn't know who was watching. I didn't know that moment would be my moment, but that was the defining moment of me winning the Gold Glove. I didn't know who was watching, but I could control my effort. And that's exactly what I did. Going out and being the first woman to win a Rolf's Gold Glove, of course, it was an extremely amazing moment for myself, but all I could think about were the dreams and the doors that were now open for so many young women, not just in softball, but in sports. I believe that glass ceiling being broken is now, or that door being knocked down, only led to so many more doors where women in sports could come now and step up to that door and see what was said the impossible and say bet. My entire life, impossible has been a dare, not a declaration. Impossible is a dare, not a declaration. Impossible is a what? Dare. Not a declaration. Anytime someone says something is impossible or that it cannot be done, I hope you look to it as a dare, not something that is definitive. As we continue my journey, and I go on from high school to college to pro to now also being on TV, I really looked at every moment that I had as I'm just going to go one for one. Nobody's going to work harder than I am, and nobody's in control of my effort but me. I'm going to play to win. I'm going to use my discipline today to show up for me tomorrow, because you got to understand, motivation is not always going to do it for you. You're not always going to be motivated to get up to go to the gym. You're not always going to be motivated to get up and go take those extra reps. The only thing that's going to get you there is your discipline. You have to train it now, and you have to train it good. It is never too late to be what you might have been, as long as you start today. And anything that you are experiencing right now, I hope you allow it and use it to be your testimony, because this could be your mountain that you've been assigned to show that it can be moved. Move those mountains. Go one for one. Remember, impossible is a dare, not a declaration. And whenever someone tells you cannot do something, I hope you respond with bet. Thank you.